everyone, welcome to a new video. Seb here, and today I want to talk about Hamza Yusuf. For those of you who don't know, Hamza Yusuf is an American neo-traditionalist Muslim scholar, and he's very famous. A lot of his YouTube videos have millions of views, and he's quite known all across the world. A few months ago I had found an amazing video of him talking about food and basically how we treat other animals, and I had saved it, and I came across that video and another video of him, and I thought, let me just do a quick vegan takedown on this. Before we get into it, I want to quickly ask you to please subscribe and hit the notification button. Up to 45% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you want to stay up to date, please do that. And if you also use other social media platforms, feel free to follow me there as well. Now let's get to our first video of Hamza Yusuf.
The other thing that's very important is to recognize the problem of food. We live in a completely unjust food system. In America, because sugar can be produced much cheaper in places, they put all of these restrictions on the importation of sugar, and so Americans now are eating corn syrup produced in America and getting fat from this corn syrup. Because corn syrup is actually not a good source of sugar. That's an example, but I'll give you a worse example. The most important study that's been done on nutrition ever is the China study by Dr. Campbell and his researchers. This was a first-rate researcher from Harvard, from Princeton, teamed up with Oxford. He was a completely credible scientist. And Premier Deng in China died of cancer of the bladder. Before he died, he set aside money to do a study of nutrition in China and disease relation. So this was independently funded. Campbell ran that team, and the result of it is the China study. Some things about the China study that are very important. The first thing is that the results were so radical that the food pyramid was changed to be more scientific. But because meat and dairy were completely minimized in the diet, the meat and dairy industry in the United States lobbied so hard that they actually changed the pyramid, which means science is no longer serving humanity, it's serving corporate interests. That's what it means. Science is serving corporate interests. That is wrong.
All right, so obviously amazing speech. I mean, he's talking to a lot of people, and this video has tens of thousands of views. It's actually 10 minutes taken from a much longer talk. So I've watched a bit of the rest of the talk. It's really interesting, but I really enjoyed this part. And obviously he goes into another direction from there, which I don't agree with. But this person knows about the China study. For those of you who don't know about the China study, which is weird if you're vegan and you don't know about it, however, I will mention it. The China study is literally the most important and biggest study ever done on nutrition. And as he said, the findings were so groundbreaking that there was a lot of, let's say, damage done to the industry and to the nutrition world in general. And to quickly look at what the conclusion was from the China study, the authors conclude that people who eat a predominantly whole food vegan diet, avoiding animal products as a source of nutrition, including beef, pork, poultry, fish, eggs, cheese, and milk, and reducing their intake of processed foods and refined carbohydrates, will escape, reduce, or reverse the development of numerous diseases. They write that eating foods that contain any cholesterol above 0 milligram is unhealthy. All right, so this is directly from the scientists who worked on the China study, who Hamza Yusuf is talking about. Now let's check the second video I found of Hamza Yusuf.
Against any fad diets. I really think it's dangerous. I think veganism is anti-fitra. Every civilization ate meat. There are very few civilizations, even the Hindus, so a lot of them are vegetarian, but...
All right, so we start off a logical fallacy called appealing to tradition. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf now says that almost every single culture and population in the world has eaten meat. And he kind of indirectly says that veganism is fad diet. Let's get back to this person talking about the China study in front of hundreds and then eventually thousands of people that literally says Those who eat a predominantly whole food, vegan diet, avoiding animal products as a source of nutrition, will escape, reduce, or reverse the development of numerous diseases. How can you talk so highly of the China study and then call veganism a fad diet, referring to logical fallacies such as appealing to tradition to justify your view on not consuming meat?
That's a religious, comes out of their religion. But even Buddhists traditionally ate meat. They usually had Muslims kill it because they couldn't kill it. But if the Muslims killed it, they could eat it. So the Muslims were traditionally.
But are they're vegetarians or vegans? I mean, but are they vegan as well?
They're not vegan.
They're not vegan, right?
I really think fad diets are very dangerous. Personally.
Okay, he again refers to veganism as a fad diet. I do want to talk about something else he mentioned. He talked about Buddhists and how they sometimes eat meat and they get Muslims to kill the animal because they wouldn't kill the animal. Other than the fact that that is probably the most hypocritical thing you can do, let's look at the 5 precepts of Buddhism and see if it goes along with the philosophy of veganism or with ideology of eating meat. Literally, the first precept of Buddhism is refrain from taking life, which means not killing any living being. So yes, you're not taking the life when you eat an animal that someone else has killed, but if that person is literally killing so that you eat, you're literally taking that life of that animal. The second one is refrain from taking what is not given or not stealing from anyone. Well, obviously, when you take what does not belong to you, such as the body or the secretions that come out of these animals, that is definitely not yours. And then we have 3 other precepts, of course, such as misuse of the senses, wrong speech, and intoxicants that cloud the mind. All right. Now, obviously, anyone who wants to go by the rules or precepts of Buddhism would not actually kill or get someone else to kill an animal for them to eat when they can just eat a plant-based diet. Back to our video.
And I've seen people really get sick from fad diets. So I'm not. I know that a lot of the principles of veganism are very sound, like having a lot more vegetables, and But
I have a feeling that he has very little understanding of what veganism is. He says like the principles of veganism are sound, and then he talks about having more vegetables. Literally nowhere in the definition of the vegan philosophy do we talk about having more vegetables. It's literally about not exploiting other animals and discriminating against them because of the fact that they belong to another species.
Some vegans are very, it just depends on what type.
So,
I think
so it should be vegetables and fruit.
Yeah,
rather
the
than fruit and
paleo
vegetable.
diet. The paleo diet is. I think a lot of it depends on where you are genetically, from where you're from, and what type of diet. I think there's a lot of truth to that. So it depends. Like some people, my wife's from Native American background, so they don't do well with carbohydrates. Corn is the natural maize and things like that, but wheat and things like that are not good for them.
So corn is literally carbohydrates. In 1 cup of corn, there's 41 grams of carb. And he says that his wife comes from Native American background and they don't do well with carbohydrates and they rely on corn and maize, but like that's literally what carbs are.
And that's why they have such high rates of obesity and diabetes. So Native Americans really suffer from modern diet, because traditionally they ate a lot of meat, buffalo, Eskimos, a lot of fish. So a lot of
Eskimos, which is a word that I've learned to not use, we should refer to them as Inuits. Inuits actually have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world, so I'm not sure if them consuming that amount of fish is something we should look up to and say like that is their natural diet and that's how they did well, when actually their mortality rate is not showing that they're doing that well. And if you want to know more about this, I actually made a video about this last week about indigenous people and whether or not they should be vegan. Feel free to check that out as well.
But I think fad diets generally are dangerous. Balance, moderation, and balance. But I do believe that the high carb diet is very bad for people. A good thing, wheat should be, if it's eaten.
All right, so back to the China study. The China study criticizes low-carb diets such as the Atkins diet, which include restrictions on the percentage of calories derived from carbohydrates. So you're saying high-carb diets are bad, but then the China study, which you praise, talks about whole foods and a vegan diet, which is high in carbs, all right, especially when it comes to whole foods. And it even criticizes diets that are low in carbs. Now, I think he probably means to say high carb diets where carbohydrates come from processed carbs, like let's say white sugar. Then it should be more specific, I would say.
It should be eaten in real moderation, but to eat a lot of bread is not a good thing. Now, again, these are for people that can, unfortunately, good food is a lot more expensive, and it's a crime against poor people that so much of the food that they are forced to eat because of the prices is just bad food. And
completely agree with that. Nothing wrong there, of course.
One of the things that when I was growing up, they had food co-ops where people got together so they could buy bulk food.
Yes, right.
And, this was something that I think needs to happen in places where poor people are, where they can really eat better food by cooperating together.
So, of course, I agree with this. That is a massive problem in certain areas of the world. I'm not going to continue the rest of the video because they changed the subject, but I do want to check. I mean, this video was uploaded in 2017. The other one was in 2015. So when he was calling veganism a fad diet and talking against high carb diets, he already knew about the China study, except if somehow the other one is older but then uploaded later than the first one, which would be weird. But I would say that he definitely has a very, very wrong conception of what the animal rights philosophy offers. And his view on nutrition, even though he knows about the China study, is kind of messed up as well. I don't know why he said those things that go literally against the study that he talked about in front of all these people. But it is what it is. That's what he's chosen. I just wanted to make a quick video about this because I was really surprised. I was really happy when I saw him talk about the China study, and then I found this other video. I was really happy. It had veganism in the title. So I was like, oh, maybe he's vegan, and I can talk about it. And I've done another video on Sadhguru that you can check out as well, where I talk about his pseudoscience and how he talks about veganism and animal rights, and even is an animal abuser himself. And I had a lot of people saying, like, why don't you comment on Muslim sheikhs who talk about veganism and things like that, or Christian priests and things like that. My goal is to never target any religion. I'm not interested in that. But any video that I find where I can do a vegan takedown, I will do it regardless of the background or the religion of the person who is in the video. So that being said, if you want to send me any video to do another takedown on, please let me know. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you think about this. I'm really interested to hear about what you think about why he took this weird turn. That being said, if you want to support my work, feel free to check out my website, SEBALEX.org. Obviously, everything I do is thanks to my patrons. I really appreciate all your support. You can also check out ethics-over-habits.com for organic, vegan, fair trade merchandise. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. I'll see you in the next video.